Good evening. We begin tonight with our continuing coverage of the Greer Fire, which is tearing through the White Mountains, forcing hundreds to evacuate their homes in the Eager and Springerville area. This is new video from Sky 12 that was captured earlier today. You can see what crews are dealing with up there.
We've also learned tonight that the fire has now grown more than 7,000 acres with no containment. And tonight, fire crews have another uphill battle against them. 12
News journalist Chase Golightly is live at a staging area just a few miles away from the flames. Chase, what's the latest?
Mark Reba, I'll tell you, a lot has changed within the past 24 hours of this fire starting. We have learned that 400 fire personnel are now battling this fire, with more on the way. We also learned that the flames have crossed over Highway 261, which we were just standing on yesterday, and that has forced dozens of homes to be evacuated. The skies west of Eager were filled with smoke from a fire burning just a few miles away.
It's going to be a long night.
Tiffany Davila with the State Department of Forestry and Fire Management says going into Thursday, crews are focusing on containment and protecting homes. The fire has doubled in size since Tuesday night because of incredibly strong winds pushing it closer to town.
The fire, again, was very active with extreme fire behavior, again, due to the winds. This is a wind-driven fire.
What did make a difference Wednesday? For the first time, helicopters were able to make bucket drops on the fire, with scoopers also dropping water from above.
It's very beneficial because some of the parts of the fire are inaccessible, so we really have to rely on that aircraft to work those parts of the fire.
Even with that progress, the fire kept pushing through, creating a new round of evacuations. We watched as sheriff's deputies went door to door, telling people to leave immediately, leaving these green tags on their mailboxes to show no one was home. Neighbors helped this small ranch load up their goats, dogs, and horses. Other evacuees like Shannon Miller did their own fire protection before going, setting sprinklers around her home, hoping it will help.
Just pray to God that my home's here when I get back and everyone else in town is safe.
While we saw many leave with what they could, Jerry Porter is staying.
Everything about me says I want to stay and protect my home, but I know that, my life is worth more than that, but I'm going to stay.
Saying he isn't going anywhere until he can see flames from his own backyard. In the meantime, he has his trailer packed up with the essentials, clothes, water, prescriptions, some photos. But the more he thinks about it, the more he feels like something is missing.
You start thinking about pictures and stuff from childhood and your kids' stuff, your grandkids' the cards that my grandkids have given me for my birthday every year since they've been alive. It's like, what do you take and what do you leave?
Praying that if it does come to that time where he has to leave, his home will still be here.
We're all praying for you, and stay safe, and let's not have any tragedies. We don't want to lose any lives.
Fire officials also told us that right now investigators are going to the location where they believe this fire started. They said it was on private property, and from there they will determine what exactly caused this fire. We're live in Eager. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thanks. Let's bring in meteorologist Lindsay Riley. And Linz, there were red flag warnings all day today.
Yeah.
Have the winds started to die down tonight?
They have, and they will be pretty light through the overnight. And they will pick up again tomorrow, but I'm assuming we're not going to have any additional red flag warnings. So we're done with that. We're done with the wind advisories. Winds will be a little bit lighter out there tomorrow, sustained out of the west at about 10 to 15 with gusts up to 25. So definitely less than those 40-mile-per-hour gusts that we've been consistently seeing over the last couple of days. Here's where the fire is burning right now. Just south of the 260. Here's Eager and there's Greer, so you can get the geography there. As of right now, this is where the majority of the smoke is. So the wind and that smoke plume is going to expand during the overnight as those winds lighten up. This is where the smoke will be at 7 a.m. and you can see pretty widespread. But as that wind begins to pick up from the west tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see a more confined plume going toward the New Mexico state. state lines. This is 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Wind gusts through the overnight. We're looking at a 10 to 20 mile per hour gust, pretty light through the overnight. And then they'll pick up as we get into tomorrow afternoon at about 20 to 25 miles per hour, but below advisory and warning criteria. On the fire lines overnight, temperatures will be in the 30s and 40s, and during the day tomorrow, we'll start off in the 50s at 8 a.m. and rise into the mid to upper 60s. It will be a dry, sunny day, continued low relative humidity, but not as windy as today and yesterday. Mark?
All right, Linz, thanks. And make sure you have the 12 Plus streaming app. Download it on your TV so you can watch for free. That's where we'll bring you the latest on the Greer Fire and any other wildfires that pop up across the state.
It has been more than 3 months since 14-year-old Emily Pike ran away from a Mesa group home and was ultimately found murdered. Her heinous death has led to a probe of state group home regulations.
Today, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee held its initial hearing to try to understand exactly what happened to Emily and what mistakes were made. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono was there today and joins us live at the Capitol with the story. Bianca?
Yeah, Mark Caribe, during this 3-hour hearing, new details about what prompted Emily Pike to be placed in that group home to begin with were shared. State and tribal leaders were here, and the overarching theme, communication between them has to be better.
The system failed Emily.
Which is why this joint legislative oversight committee hearing is happening, to answer what happened to 14-year-old Emily Pike before her gruesome murder.
She was punished for being victimized. I find that absolutely abhorrent.
In 2023, Emily reported being sexually assaulted. The San Carlos Apache tribal member was in a rural part of the reservation when 911 was called. Instead of San Carlos Apache police responding, the tribe's Game and Fish Department did, and they ultimately handled the sexual assault investigation. A representative from the police department answered questions about why.
Game and Fish is the experts on locating people in those type of areas. However, looking at calls, we were also busy.
Emily's alleged attacker was not charged, and Emily was then put in the care of Tribal Social Services. A representative from that agency also addressed the committee.
What I experience with our tribe is that all the families will support the perpetrator.
Emily was sent to a group home in Mesa, more than 100 miles from her home. DCS's director said though Emily was sent to a state-licensed home, she was not considered to be in the state's jurisdiction.
The tribe had exclusive jurisdiction there.
It's something State Senator Teresa Hatatli pushed back on.
When you absolve responsibility for a child, no matter what ethnicity that they're from, it's still a child.
On January 27th, Emily ran away from the group home for what would be the last time, leaving through her bedroom window.
The alarm on the window had been disabled. Alarm systems in group homes should have an alert when a window or door alarm has been disabled.
Emily was considered a missing person / runaway. So, as tribal leaders recalled, when group home staff notified them of Emily's status, they were not initially alarmed.
The moment they're not accounted for, they are missing.
In February, Emily's remains were found in trash bags.
She was left on the side of the road like she was a piece of trash. Like she didn't matter.
Every agency that participated in Wednesday's hearing agreed communication is an area for improvement.
One of the biggest things that we struggle with is communication.
As the search for Emily's killer continues, officials hope this is a good first step towards much needed change. So this 14-year-old's death was not in vain.
She should be here today, and I am just so sorry that our system failed her.
And Emily's death is already leading to change. Just yesterday, Governor Hobbs signed Emily's law, creating a turquoise alert system, an alert system for missing Native American people in Arizona. Now back to her case. No arrests have been made, but now $150,000 is being offered for information. We're live at the Capitol tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thanks. New at 10, a Prescott police officer has been indicted for manslaughter after a shooting last June. Officer Brian Sutton is accused of shooting Daniel Leslie, who wound up dying from his injuries. According to documents, Leslie was unarmed when he ran into his home, and that's when Sutton fired his gun. Back in October, Leslie's family filed a $20 million claim against the Prescott Police Department.
Chandler police are asking for the public's help in finding a man accused of setting a house on fire with 5 people inside. Detectives are looking for this man that you see there on your screen. He is 61-year-old Oscar Sanchez. The fire broke out on May 4th near State Route 87 and Guadalupe Road. 3 of the people inside the home had active orders of protection against Sanchez. If you know where he is, you're asked to contact Chandler PD or Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS.
This was the scene at a home in Gilbert and what it looked like after teens allegedly threw fireworks into a barn on last July 4th. Today was the last day of testimony for one of the 2 teens involved. The judge found the teen guilty on all charges, including arson and endangerment. Jenny Jones, the victim and the owner of the house, talked to us today about the emotional toll this has taken.
It's something that we live day in, day out, and you know, you can put a price on some of the things. There's a lot you can't put a price on. Every single day, the stress from it, you know, takes a toll on your body. And after the fire, I could barely eat for like 2 weeks. Just the amount of stress that it caused in my life.
The other teen who was accused has already pleaded guilty and is currently serving probation. This next teen's sentencing is set for late June.
Today, the community came together to honor the history of the 5 schools that are closing in the Roosevelt School District. Current and former teachers and students gathered at John R. Davis Elementary School to reconnect with cherished memories and to make some final ones. There were crafts and games to enjoy, but this marks the end of an era for this Phoenix community. At a meeting in December, the school board voted to close the schools at the end of the school year to make up for a $5 million budget shortfall.